Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel for the final installment in my reading of the book Scientology Abuse at the Top. It's a addition that I put in my book called The Profile of a Sociopath. And I included it in my book because after I read it, I just went, David Miscavige fits this description of a sociopath to the freaking letter. And so I wanted to include that in my book when I published it. And I want it to be part of my audiobook that I'm doing by putting together all of my videos on each chapter of my book with my added commentary. That's going to be an audiobook that I'm going to put up on my website, scobee-publishing.com, when I'm done with that, all the editing that needs to take place. Anyway, so today I'm going to read you Profile of a Sociopath. Let's get it up here. I love this background. It makes me feel good. It's my screensaver on my regular computer as well. It just makes me feel calm. Profile of a Sociopath. In researching how to best describe David Miscavige's personality, I came across the following behavior descriptions entitled The Profile of a Sociopath, which describe his traits quite perfectly. These traits are based on the psychopathy checklist of H. Checkley and R. Hare. In the 1830s, this disorder was called moral insanity. By 1900, it was changed to psychopathic personality, and more recently, it has been termed antisocial personality disorder. I wanted to include this full description here so anyone reading can hopefully spot such a personality in their own lives and do whatever it takes to stay as far away from them as possible. They will only work to make your life miserable, as did David Miscavige. You will do much better and be much happier without them. Amen. Glibness, superficial charm. Language can be used without effort by them to confuse and convince their audience, captivating storytellers that exude self confidence. They can spin a web that intrigues others. Since they are persuasive, they have the capacity to destroy their critics verbally or emotionally. Okay, this is a good one because, you know, I mean, after seeing David Miscavige speak publicly after leaving, I can see that it's actually terrible, but when I was in, I thought, wow, he's pretty, charismatic, um, and eloquent with his wording, and he appears super smart and, dynamic and whatever, right? I had this concept, and, it was captivating because he was an obvious leader, um, in my mindset at that time. And exude confidence. David Miscavige exudes self-confidence out his pores. He is so like he's the one that's in the know. He's the one who knows how to do it. He's the one who has to do everything because he's the only one who can do it right. I mean, that's the kind of self-confidence that he exuded. Manipulative and cunning. Oh, yes. They never recognize the rights of others and see their self-serving behaviors permissible. They never recognize the rights of others. This is a big point, right? See their self-serving behaviors permissible. Yeah, he thinks it's okay of everything that he does that's for him. I just saw a video that said, for $10,000, he was getting his makeup done for his little photo shoots and his little ribbon cuttings and events or whatever. I mean, $10,000? I'll do your makeup, Dave. They appear to be charming sometimes. yet are covertly hostile and domineering. Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, he's not really covertly hostile. He's overtly hostile. Maybe in his mind, he's even more hostile than he is overtly. So it's just domineering. Absolutely. Anyone who at all pops their head up, he jumps right on and smacks them down. Seeing their victim as merely an instrument to be used. Yeah. They dominate and humiliate their victims. Yeah. That's what I have countless stories of him dominating and humiliating his victims. So let me read that again because I stepped all over it. Manipulative and cunning. They never recognize the rights of others and see their self-serving behaviors permissible. They appear to be charming, yet are covertly hostile and domineering, seeing their victim as merely an instrument to be used. They dominate and humiliate their victims. Grandiose sense of self. Feels entitled to certain things as their right. Craves adulation and attention. Must be the center of attention with their own fantasies as the spokesman for God, enlightened, leader of humankind, etc. Creates an us versus them mentality. Well, in Scientology, it's flat out us versus them. You know, if you're not a Scientologist, then you don't have a clue. And we're the only ones that are ever going to salvage mankind, and everyone else is going to become a cinder block. Feels entitled to certain things as their right. $5,000 shoes, $10,000 makeup, food flown in from wherever, craves adulation and attendance. Oh, yeah. Like we would have meetings and, if you're not like just flat out looking at him at attention, he's going to call you out, and he wants to tell you stories and wants to get a reaction out of you. And if he can't get a reaction out of you, he'll hit you. I mean, he needs and craves that attention. Oh boy, creates an us versus them. Yes. Pathological lying has no problem lying coolly and easily, and it is almost impossible for them to be truthful on a consistent basis. Can create and get caught up in a complex belief about their own powers and abilities, extremely convincing and able to pass lie detector tests. Okay, I don't know about his lie detector tests, but he wouldn't go on the e-meter. Yeah, because, you know, he's avoiding anybody taking any control of him whatsoever. And also, no problem lying coolly. Well, I loved rereading that chapter of my book about Lisa McPherson and seeing how David Miscavige spun the gruesome death of a parishioner on his watch into it being an attack on Scientology. It was unbelievable. It was stunning to see that. And I was in Scientology at the time, and all I knew was what David Miscavige was telling us. And I was thinking, wow, they're really like, under attack from all sides. And anyway, to come to find out, he was the one who was doing Lisa McPherson's case supervision. His hands are dirty, man. And anyway, lying coolly and easily. Yeah, that's David Miscavige. Lack of remorse, shame, or guilt. All of Scientology is like that. Um, that's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if the profile of a sociopath can fit an organization as well as an individual because they train you to lie. They have training routines, TRL, meaning training routine lie. Literally, they have that. And it's the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics. If you tell a short story and that's not true, you know? Um, wow, this is an interesting. Oh, wow, I should go through this with that concept. Because they have no shame, no remorse, no guilt for any of the crimes that they commit, for any of the families that they split up, you know? This isn't just an individual, this is an organization. Because it was founded by a sociopath, L. Ron Hubbard, and then has been run ever since by David Miscavige, who's a sociopath. But the whole organization operates as a psychotic organization with the, characteristics of a sociopath. Wow, that's a good realization, I think. Shallow emotions. When they show what seems to be warmth, love, joy, and compassion, it is more feigned than experienced and serves an ulterior motive. Outraged by insignificant matters, yet remaining unmoved and cold by what would upset a normal person. Since they are not genuine, neither are their promises. That describes Dave Miscavige. He doesn't have this warmth, joy, and love and compassion. He only shows anything like that in order to get something, you know, with an ulterior motive, like it says here. Yeah, feigned. Yeah, there you go. It is more feigned than experienced and serves an ulterior motive. Exactly. And then outraged by insignificant matters. Yeah, like the way somebody's facial expression is can cause him to jump across the table and land on you and start punching you. Incapacity for love. While they talk about God's love, they are unable to give or receive it. Since they do not believe in the genuineness of their followers' love, they are very harsh in testing it from their devotees and expect them to feel guilt for their failings, expects unconditional surrender. Yeah, he doesn't even talk about God's love. You don't talk about love in the Sea Org because that's considered thiety weedy. They have a word for affection, which is affinity. Um, but you don't really talk about that too much either, honestly. um, Unable to give or receive it. That's interesting. Yeah, he banished his wife like 18 years ago to the corners of some property that they have, never to be seen again. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him and his communicator. Doubt that it's love, honestly. Since they do not believe in the genuineness of their followers' love, they are very harsh in testing it from their devotees and expect them to feel guilt for their feelings. Yeah, when I was in there, he wanted us all to feel very guilty for just being there, for God's sakes. Unconditional surrender. Yeah, if anyone spoke up at all, they were just shot right down. Need for stimulation. Living on the edge, yet testing the beliefs of their followers with bizarre rules, punishments, and behaviors. Verbal outbursts and physical punishments are normal. Exactly. This is 100% need for stimulation. That's interesting that that's what the category is. Wow. The every day was a shock or surprise, an unexpected thing. You were always on the edge. But I didn't realize that it was a need for stimulation. That's interesting. Go skydiving, Dave. Do something like that instead of beating on people, for God's sakes. Anyway, callousness, lack of empathy. Dave Miscavige. Unable to empathize with the pain of their victims, having only contempt for others' feelings of distress and readily taking advantage of them. Yeah, like when he jumped on Wendell Reynolds and knocked him to the ground and his pulled his chair down and started, wrestling him and stuff like that. Wendell laid on the ground after he was done, and then Dave said, "Get up and stop pretending to be hurt." You know? So contempt for others' feelings of distress and readily taking advantage of them. Their skills are used to exploit, abuse, and exert power. Mhm. Since the follower cannot believe their leader would callously hurt them, they rationalize their behavior. Okay, this is perfect. This is perfect because the whole reason I got out was because I finally had the realization that I was rationalizing total insanities by justifying what I was seeing with my own eyes. So, since the follower cannot believe their leader would callously hurt them, they rationalize the behavior as necessary for their or the group's own good and deny the abuse. Deny the abuse. Yeah, there's affidavits from all the top executives. Dave never even raises his voice. He's such a good leader. Yeah, and if you don't write that, you're going to be punished and sent to like the bottom of some sort of freaking hole somewhere. I remember Caroline Mustard. I saw her on someone's video recently, which was amazing because I hadn't seen her in so many years. And I remember that she was ordered to get into what was that? Like a grease pit. I have to ask JB. It was like a grease pit in the bottom of the motor pool area. And it was only the size of yourself. You can, like, turn around like this, and she had to white glove it. It was full of grease. It was disgusting. She had to crawl in, it was way above her head. Anyway. When devotees become aware of the exploitation, it feels like a spiritual rape to them. Yeah, see, when I realized that, then I was contemplating and figuring out and calculating all the different things that I could do to get off that property. Because you can't just leave that property. It's so, secure, and even Jackson was saying that they put not only do they have the razor wires and the motion detectors and the whole security force and light system and camera system um, and all this, they put the fence 5 feet down, so you can't even, like, dig under it to get out of there. Anyway, so I was trying to figure out anything I could do. Anyway, so I became very defiant and negative, and they sent me to Florida to the rehabilitation project force. It took me 2 years, but I escaped from there with Matt, as you know. All right. Poor behavioral controls, impulsive nature. Yes, he does. Rage and abuse, alternating with small expressions of love. Small expressions of love, I guess a couple of the things that he would do is like, oh, he found out that no one was sleeping, so he sent everybody to go to bed, because we're all screwed up, we're not getting anything done because we didn't sleep, so he sent everybody to bed. "Oh, thank you, sir, you're the savior of the universe." His small expression of love, but he only did it because, he said that we were worthless. How many times was I told that? So, rage and abuse, alternating with small expressions of love and approval, produce an addictive cycle for abusers and abused, as well as creating hopelessness in the victim. Yeah. Believe they are all powerful, all knowing, entitled to every wish, no sense of personal boundaries, no concern for their impact on others. The followers only see them as near perfect. I know. Why is that? It's like they have a spell over the followers. And, yeah, and he sees absolutely no boundaries. That's why he can beat you, jump on you, force you to do this, force you to change your name, send you out of the country, tell you to get a divorce and expect that you do it. I mean, yeah, no boundaries there. Early behavior problems, juvenile delinquency. Usually has a history of behavioral and academic difficulties, yet gets by conning others. Problems in making and keeping friends, aberrant behaviors such as cruelty to people or animals, stealing, etc. That's an interesting thing because his brother Ronnie Miscavige Jr. mentioned that Dave was like this as a kid, and he was known as Eureka and Theta because he was a bully. Doesn't surprise me. Irresponsibility, unreliability, not concerned about wrecking others' lives and dreams. He's not just not concerned about it, he directly abuses and abolishes people's lives. Oblivious or indifferent to the devastation they cause. Oblivious? I don't think he's oblivious, honestly. Oblivious to the devastation he's causing. That he indifferent, yeah, that he could care less, that makes sense, but he knows. I think he knows, and I don't think he cares. Does not accept blame themselves, never, never does he accept any blame for anything, anything, but blame their followers or others outside of their group, yes, he does. Blame reinforces passivity and obedience and produces guilt, shame, terror, and conformity in the followers. How do we unravel this? I mean, you can get rid of him. He needs to go to jail. Um, if we take that influence out, I wonder if, the people who are just absolutely feeling the guilt, the shame, the terror, and conformity will start to come off, and then they can see that they have been conned and get out of there. I don't know. Promiscuous sexual behavior, infidelity. Totalist leaders frequently practice promiscuity, child sexual abuse, rape, and sexual acting out of all sorts. This is usually kept hidden from all but the inner circle. Stringent sexual control of their followers, such as forced breakups and divorces, removal of children from parents, rules for dating, etc. I mean, this is like written for Scientology. Um, Yeah, apparently also, he was seeing prostitutes in Las Vegas, and he banished his wife, out of sight, out of mind, like 18 years ago. Who knows her state of mind right now? He's with his communicator, apparently, Larice, and stringent sexual control of their followers. Like he was forcing divorces, and he also had the children of the Sea Organization members removed from the property, and also he had issues written forbidding people from having children if you're in the Sea Organization, which resulted in I don't know how many countless abortions, sadly. Wow. Lack of realistic life plan, parasitic lifestyle, tends to move around a lot, or makes all encompassing promises for the future. Many groups claim as their goal world domination or other utopian promises. Great contrast between their leaders' opulent lifestyle and the followers' impoverishment. Oh, yes. Support by gifts and donations from the followers who are pressured to give through fear and guilt, highly sensitive to their own pain and health. Oh my gosh, written for David Miscavige again. So yeah, like for his birthdays and for Christmas, everybody is shaken down from all the different Sierra races. It's a con. It's actually really something. And he gets all this money personally. Plus the whole organization is catering to him. Yeah, contrast between the leader's opulent lifestyle, jet setting and private jets all over the place, you know, custom clothing that costs so much, $10,000 makeup and hair and all this. And when I was in the Sea Org at the top and watched on committee, I had literally holes in the elbows of my shirts. I didn't have money. How was I supposed to get uniforms? You were only issued like a couple because money was tight or whatever. And meantime, here's this guy. Total contrast between the two. And he always had attention on his physical appearance. He took exercise, he slept, he ate snacks all the time because he said he got angry if he didn't have the snacks at a certain amount of time. So his little entourage always had his little snacky snacks with him. as well as all the bandages that were needed for when he punched people. Anyway. Criminal or entrepreneurial versatility changes their image and that of the group as needed to avoid prosecution and to increase income and to recruit a range of members. Is able to adapt or relocate as needed to preserve the group. Can resurface later with a new name, a new front group, and a new twist on the scam. It's interesting how he's avoiding um, process servers. I don't live there. I don't live there. I don't live there. I mean, yeah, where do you live? Nowhere. Yeah, he's just doing anything to avoid prosecution. There's 5 court cases, at least, with his name on it right now, so. Other related qualities. Contemptuous of those who seek to understand them. Does not perceive that anything is wrong with them. Authoritarian, secretive, paranoid, only rarely in difficulty with the law, but seeks out situations where their tyrannical behavior will be tolerated, condoned, or admired. Conventional appearance, goal of enslavement of their victims. Goal of enslavement of their victims. Victims is the right word. Exercises despotic control over every aspect of the victim's life. Has an emotional need to justify their crimes and therefore needs their victims' affirmation, respect, gratitude, and love. Ultimate goal is the creation of a willing victim. The ultimate goal. The ultimate goal. The creation of a willing victim. He has those. Incapable of real human attachment to another. Unable to feel remorse or guilt, extreme narcissism, and grandiose, yes, may state readily that their goal is to rule the world. Well, that is his goal. His goal is to rule the world with Scientology. And, well, we can't let that happen. We need to continue to expose what Scientology does. It's a completely destructive cult that rips apart families and destroys lives. And so it's really important to just keep these videos going, keep the information going, expose everything that we know about what Scientology does to hurt people. Um, and that's my mission, and I will continue to do so. This brings us to the very, very end of my book reading. I'm going to put this all together in one audio document, um, with a lot of my commentary in there, but some of my commentary out of there. And, and it'll be there for everybody. All right, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Bye for now.